Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and in today's video I'm going to give you 10 romantic movies that you should consider buying on 4K for Valentine's Day. Well, it's Valentine's Day again, so what better way than to snuggle up with your significant other and watch a good romantic film. Now, one of the cool things about romance films is they're not exclusive to romantic dramas or even the more popular ones, rom-coms. Any genre can have an element of romance to it, whether it's a Western or sci-fi, a crime drama, musicals. So I really wanted to put together 10 movies that you should definitely check out that are romantic, that are available on 4K Blu-ray. One of the things I really enjoy about the 4K format is it elevates all movies, and that includes rom-coms, and you add that extra element of HDR and Dolby Vision, especially with upgraded audio, it really gives you the best possible experience. So for this list, I'm going to give you 10 movies that at their heart are romantic in some way or shape or form, whether it is a rom-com or some other kind of genre, and just something that you may consider picking up for yourself. Before I begin, just a couple of quick notes. This list is not in any particular order, so my number one is not necessarily a number one, but all of these movies I definitely think you should check out on the 4K format. And I also encourage you to put in the comments below some movies on 4K in a romantic theme that you should definitely want us to watch as well. So, alright, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into my number 10. For my number 10 pick, I'm going to go with Crazy Rich Asians. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, it's a rom-com. How good is it going to look on 4K? I have to say, when I watched it, I was very impressed. This movie is very colorful, so that means the HDR is going to work over time and give you a nice lush and visual pop. And I just think the setting also really benefits. There's a fireworks sequence in the movie that's just, it melts your eyeballs. It looks that good. And the audio is also very, very solid. It's not anything demo worthy, but it gives you a nice surround experience, especially, you know, if you got a nice home theater setup, and I think you'll really benefit both visually and audio wise. I enjoy the movie, and I think it makes a good 4K disc to watch at home, and I recommend this one on the format. For my number 9 pick, something a little bit more serious, and that is Queen and Slim. Queen and Slim is in the vein of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, the 4K edition is a nice upgrade from the standard Blu-ray. It's not anything I would say revolutionary visual. It has a style to it, so you can only squeeze so much out of it, but I still feel it's a really good story that benefits from the 4K upgrade. I really enjoyed the movie. I think Daniel Kaluuya does a great job in this one, and Jodie Turner-Smith also. Really, this is a good movie, and while it's not the most beautiful looking 4K disc, you should definitely get it. Check it out for yourself. It's a nice upgrade, and for those looking for a little bit more of a, once again, serious kind of film, this one should be right up your alley. My number 8 is an absolute classic. A lot of people are very aware of this movie, but what you may not know is the 4K is fantastic, and that is Dirty Dancing. Now, when this was announced, I was excited, of course, but what really caught me off guard when I popped it in was the Dolby Atmos upgraded audio. That is that is how you do an upgraded audio experience. This film relies on a killer soundtrack. I mean, it's very era-specific music, but it all comes together well. It sounds clear, and the Atmos is used very effectively. And the visual upgrade, it's not as dramatic, but it's still appreciated. Dirty Dancing is an absolute classic, and if you want literally the best home format version, waste no time and pop in that 4K. For number 7, I'm going to go with one of my favorite movies that was released that year, and I'm talking about La La Land. I know it's kind of the cool thing to hate on the movie a bit, but I really enjoyed it, and I think the 4K disc really shines. My only real complaint is that I wish it included the Dolby Vision that's available on the stream. We only get standard HDR, but I still think it looks really good. And it gives you an overall visual enhancement with the grading. And the Dolby Atmos is top notch. It's a really great, all-enveloping kind of sound. I mean, there's some great musical moments and just even some simple ambience, I think, makes full use of the surroundscape. And I enjoy the film. As I said, it's one of my favorite movies of that year. It's more of a modern take on a romance. I mean, you really love the characters. I don't want to spoil what happens at the end, but it's still, I think, it's a well-rounded, more of a modern love story, and I do highly recommend you check out the 4K disc. For number 6, I'm going to go with one of our most prominent directors of our time, and I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. I have to admit, I am not the biggest fan of the original. It's okay, but for me, Spielberg's version really elevates the material to a whole new level. Essentially, the movie is Romeo and Juliet. So you have all that at play here. It's a nice drama, it's some great musical moments. But the 4K disc, I think, really outshines the Blu Ray, and you should definitely check it out. It has a stylized look to it, so it's not going to be the most visually beautiful looking picture, but it still looks great, and the HDR does its job effectively. And the Dolby Atmos, there's a lot to enjoy there. Those musical numbers are really room encompassing with your surround sound, and I think it offers a very good visual and audio presentation. So yes, West Side Story, Spielberg's version, definitely check it out on 4K. My number 5 pick is once again another one of my favorite movies from that particular year. I'm talking about director Steven Soderbergh's Out of Sight. Now, the movie on its surface level is a crime drama with some comedy thrown in, but really at its heart, there's a good amount of romance here. I mean, really, George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, magnetic together. Sparks just fly. Those two on screen have a wonderful chemistry, and I love their story in this. And the 4K disc released by Kino Lorber is a nice upgrade over the Blu Ray, no doubt about it. The audio is pretty much the same DTS 5.1 that was ported over from the existing, but still, it's a good 4K. I love the film. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's kind of an unassuming romantic film, so I absolutely recommend this one as well. My number 4 pick is just about as classic a cinema as you can get. I'm talking about Casablanca. Now, Warner Brothers recently released this one on 4K, and just spoiler alert, it is a fantastic upgrade. Now, the story itself, of course, is at its heart a very romantic film. I mean, you have Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. The Rick and Ilsa story is wonderful. It's timeless. It's magic. And now, as far as the 4K goes, it is beautiful. This is the type of film that really showcases what classic cinema can look like on 4K, and it definitely does not disappoint. I don't think I need to speak too much more about this one. If you're a fan of the film, you probably already own the 4K, but if you're a newcomer to it, do yourself a favor, get the 4K. You will certainly not be disappointed. Of all the movies on this list, my number 3 is probably what I would consider to be a demo-worthy disc. In fact, it made my top 10 overall 4K discs of 2022, and I'm talking about 3,000 Years of Longing. So many of you are probably sitting at home thinking, what is this movie? This is a fantasy romance drama with a lot of historical elements, and its main characters, played by Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba, make a very unassuming, great romantic pair. I love this movie. It caught me completely off guard, and it's directed by George Miller, who you may know from Mad Max or Mad Max Fury Road. And it's a fantastic film. Once again, if you're into demo-worthy discs, this one should definitely be on your list. But if you want a good fantasy, epic kind of love story, pop this one in your 4K player. You will definitely not regret it. My number 2 pick is a recent release from Sony, who you may know does some of the best 4K transfers on the market. And I'm talking about My Best Friend's Wedding. This is a rom-com through and through. I mean, it's Julia Roberts, and in fact, it's probably next to Pretty Woman, one of her most famous movies, and the 4K is surprisingly done very well. Now, not only do we get a nice solid HDR grading, I mean, the colors look fantastic, but surprisingly, an Atmos track was added to this one, and it's actually got some good presence to it. It's not anything demo-worthy, but the overall experience on the 4K format really elevates this film to another level. I enjoy this one. I go back to it every few years, and if you want the best possible version, do yourself a favor and check out the 4K of My Best Friend's Wedding. Now, I was originally considering doing an honorable mentions list, but as I was going over it, I had a lot of trouble narrowing it down because there are so many great romantic films that are on 4K that I think deserve their own video. So I'm going to wait until next year. So look for the Valentine's Day 2024 Volume 2 video. And if you don't see anything on this list, your chances are you're going to see it on that video. So, well, once again, definitely let me know in the comments below if you have any suggestions or ideas for 4K movies of romantic films that you want us all to check out. So, moving on to my number 1, that will go to True Romance. Of course, this movie on 4K was another surprise. This was released by Arrow Video, both here in the States and over in the UK. And I gotta say, the 4K disc really, I think, is a great example of just trouncing the Blu Ray, because the Blu Ray always had a little bit of a rough look to it. But the 4K, it's cinematic, it's great, and the film itself deserves it. I mean, give it the best possible version on a home format, and True Romance definitely got it. I highly recommend you check it out, as I do all the movies on this list. But once again, this is, of course, the time of year to snuggle up with your loved one, watch a good movie. So do yourself a favor, pick up the 4K edition and enjoy yourself at home. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Also, if you're interested in any of these titles, I will leave Amazon links in the comment section. If you use them, they really help out the channel. And until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.